Gruesome Magazine.
I am your host, and I'm not Doc Rotten.
And Stumble.
I'm Jeff Mohr, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video-on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host Crystal Cleveland and I take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Usually Doc Rotten is leading the show, but he is off for a couple weeks, deservedly so. So we're going to soldier on without him. With me this week is my co-host Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How are you, Crystal? Oh man, my blah blah blah. How are you, Crystal?
I'm good. How are you? Seems like it's been a while. Feels like forever. I don't know why.
It does. I don't think I've done a podcast for like 2 weeks, which is
whoa. It's like, what do you do with yourself then?
I don't know.
And you know what? Although Doc may not be with us, we do have someone else with us.
We do. Joining us again is Horror News Radio co-host Dave Dreher. How are you tonight, Dave?
Hello. How is everybody? Good to be here with you again.
Good to have you.
Oh, it's great to have you. You know, they used to tell me that if you did it 3 times, it was you're part of the crew. So I don't know.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say one of us had to keep our foot on the floor, and then it was all okay.
No.
As long as there's one foot on the floor, nothing happened.
Yeah, you don't realize it, but you have joined a common law marriage.
There you go.
All right, we've got 2 movies tonight. The Night Sitter and Assassinaut. Both of these I was kind of excited to see. And we actually, we've done this in the past, have kind of a theme, and I think...
Wait, you have a theme this week?
I have a theme. I have a theme.
Uh-oh.
And the theme is kids die.
Yeah,
both movies have kids
that
die.
they do.
True. Yep,
Maybe that's not a real theme. I don't know.
No, that's a theme if I've ever heard one.
And maybe it's not one we should be excited about. But
no, but sometimes it's like you watch and you go, they're not going to go there. They're not going to go there. Oh, they went there.
That used to make the late great Santos Ellen Jr. I don't know if either of you had the opportunity to ever record with Santos, but that was always if a pet died or a child died, you knew it was going to be at least a 4-star for Santos. So
yes. They always let those damn babies off. Okay, so our first film is The Night Sitter. It's about a con artist posing as a babysitter to steal from a wealthy occult enthusiast. One of the kids she's sitting unwittingly summons a trio of witches known as the Three Mothers. The Night Sitter is directed and written by Abiel, Bruhn, and John Rocco, and stars Elise Dufour, Jack Champion, and Jermaine Rivers. So Dave is going to start us off tonight. What are your first impressions of The Night Sitter?
Well, I went into The Night Sitter with some night blindness. I had didn't know what this one was about. So just kind of went in cold, and I was kind of surprised. It certainly has its issues, without a doubt. But with that being said, I really liked the way it was shot. It was very colorful. Had a lot of pretty lights.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But that held my attention a lot of times, especially some of their color choices of, lighting the background in one color and lighting their faces in a different color. It almost gave it a comic book feel a lot of the times. And I like that. And it's got a Christmas theme going on. So, we get all the Christmas lights shaken. The story, it was kind of reminiscent of The Collector a lot of the time. The whole premise of bad person having to perform good things. Bad person who's really not a bad person is just doing bad things because they have to, and find themselves in a position of having to end up actually protecting the person that they were there to to take advantage of. I found the guy who played the father rather annoying, the occult enthusiast, the YouTube guy.
Oh,
You
yeah.
do, huh?
Yeah, he was, he was very annoying. I liked the lead actress who played our night sitter, our sitter who was, actually the con woman. I thought she was actually quite good. Yeah, so first impressions are kind of a meh. There were things I liked, there were things I didn't like, and at the end of the day, I just kind of walked out of the movie not really feeling that I seen much. But it didn't feel like a total waste of time.
It's not a total waste of time.
I'm sure that'll be on the Blu-ray box when they're
Yeah. Well, Crystal, what are your first impressions of The Night Sitter?
I have to agree with Dave completely and so hard about the lighting. It was so awesome. I loved the lighting. At first, when I was watching this, I was like, oh, it's very colorful. And I'm like, do I like it? No, I love it. And then I just started watching what they were doing with the lighting. And I was like, whoever lit the set was phenomenal. I mean, the use of the Christmas lights, and they clearly used some gels or LEDs.
Yeah, I don't know how they got them so vivid. I mean, they were really. There's one scene where she opens a door, and it's like a brilliant blue behind her, but her face is green. Everything in the floor thing was green.
So
I was like, damn, that is just such a pretty shot.
Yeah. So, and that's what that was about to lead to the cinematography. I really liked the cinematography as well. I liked the shots. I liked the way it was shot. I liked the intimacy. Yeah, there were definitely some things I was not crazy about. Like when I first started watching this, for some reason, all that jumped out at me was, this reminds me of a Goosebumps story.
Mm-hmm.
Until
I can see that.
Yeah, because it was so sweet and kind of innocent, and you knew who the bad guys were and you knew who the good guys were. And until we started getting into it, and I've got to say, they had some good gore. There was some good gore here that I appreciated, and there were some moments that maybe were supposed to be scary, but I found kind of funny because I don't know what that says about me, but. I mean, it had an interesting vibe. It was different from what I've seen in a lot of horror movies. It wasn't great by any means, and I can't quite pinpoint why. I guess it's got to be a story issue more than anything, because I thought that the acting was okay. I agree that the dad was annoying, but I don't know if it was the character, the actor, or the writing as far as that perspective goes. I think it was the story, because, I think some of it was thrown in when the friends come into the picture, and then some random guy who's obsessed with her. A lot of it seemed forced.
Yeah, and it needed a body count. I mean, somebody had to die, because originally we just had the boy and the babysitter.
Right.
And that's not going to be enough. So there's got to be some other people come in so they can die.
Exactly. And but typically with the kind of forced stuff, I'm just going, oh, that's too bad. I feel like there could have been maybe some better ways to do it. But the score also, they had that 80s vibe score, that I really like the synth score to that. So there were some good things to this. It's not the best, but it's got some okay moments, and it's a pretty watch. Just, I don't think anyone's gonna watch it and go, man, this is so good. Although maybe you might, and if you do disagree with me, then more power to you. I'm just kidding. But yes, it was okay. It was okay. Okay.
So.
We come to Mr. Mohr.
It was okay, and Dave's was of the nature of I didn't hate it.
It wasn't a total. It wasn't a total waste of time.
It wasn't a total waste, and it's okay. So I had fun with this. I think we're kind of on about the same level, but I enjoyed watching this in terms of, I just kind of had a smile on my face a lot of the time. They try to have this sort of heavy occult stuff going on and the Necronomicon type book about
you know
these
what?
witches.
Yes, I totally wrote that. Like when that girl turns, it's kind of like the Deadites. Did you see that kind of?
Yeah,
that's kind of fun.
Yeah, they borrow from a lot of maybe, and again, the whole thing with the locked room was definitely a Warren's reference or a Conjuring. Is it Conjuring?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
reference. I mean, same type of thing. The haunted artifacts and it's they borrowed from a lot of stuff.
And that's what I was getting to. It's not a particularly unique story. We've got this babysitter with ulterior motives, which we actually saw recently in this podcast with Monster Party, I think it was.
Oh yeah, yep. Monster Party was where she was coming as a caterer,
right?
But
right.
still kind of the same.
But she was
going to.
They were going to
go rob.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So. We had the babysitter with ulterior motives. We also had a room was locked and off limits to everybody. But of course, they find a key to go in, and I was thinking, oh boy, Annabelle, which we just saw a month or so ago. But there's a little bit of a twist there that puts a slightly different slant on the story, I guess. I agree with Dave. I really did not like the father character, but I think you're not supposed to. He's kind of a slimy character, and later on you find out, yes, he's not just a weirdo. He's really a slimy character.
Yes.
I may have given something away. I think
that was kind of obvious too. X marks the spot. X marks the spot.
Yes. And even our favorite little kid picks up on that, Ronnie. So, we've got Elise DeFore, who is Amber, the babysitter, and she's babysitting Kevin. And then Kevin's dad has a date, and his date brings another kid named Ronnie, who's the epitome of obnoxious kids, right? And he didn't do too bad at that.
No, he was perfect.
So anyway, I did enjoy it, even though it wasn't all that unique. I think the colors really played into it. And as you guys were talking, I was thinking, it kind of reminded me almost of a Creep Show or Tales from the Crypt, the old comic books kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like he mentioned, Dave mentioned. Yeah.
With those vivid colors. And
that really was definitely one of the best parts of the movie was the way it was shot.
And a lot of the gore was almost like a quick take of a comic book frame, now that I think about it. They were I could think of some great shots in there that would have been in the comic book. But anyway, and there's a couple of interesting developments there, but I think I sort of liked, there wasn't any big laugh out loud moments, but I kind of had a grin on my face most of the time. And the first time it really kind of hit me was when Amber and this guy who thought he was her boyfriend, Martin, calls her on the phone, and he keeps saying he's her boyfriend, and she keeps saying, no, you're not, you're my boyfriend. And then at the end of the phone call, he says, I love you. And she doesn't say anything. And then he says, I love you. Like you're supposed to say something back.
Didn't she wind up saying, I like you or something?
She goes, I like you. And he goes, I love you. Can't get her to say it, no matter what. And I just like the way she dealt with those characters, the way she dealt with this guy, I think his name is Martin, and the way she dealt with Vincent, the guy that lived in the garage across the street to start with. She just kind of is put off by him and doesn't want to deal with him, and has kind of a good sarcastic look to it. But she goes all final girl on him at the end.
True. Yes. Yeah. And the kid was good. The lead kid was really cute, really precious, and I wanted the best for him. So, I think the characters were successful as far as I think we felt the way we were supposed to feel toward them, which is a good thing. It's like, the heroine you're supposed to like, and you do. She's easy to like.
Well, I kind of got into Rod and Lindsay too, the crook and his girlfriend.
Yes, yeah.
I thought Rod was hilarious. He kept saying something. he'd say a line that I expected certain cliches to come out, but they weren't. They were fresh, at least to me. So I kind of enjoyed him too, although Lindsay...
She's hit or miss, I think.
Yeah. With an interesting actress name.
What's that?
Her name was Amber Newcomb.
Amber Newcomb. Oh,
Newcomb. I don't know. I was thinking Duke Nukem for some reason.
I'm like, Newcomb.
I apologize, Miss Newcomb. But I kind of like the guy, Ben Barlow, that played Vincent, too. That he starts off as just this kind of socially inept guy, and he ends up being kind of a key to the story. So...
yeah, like it was okay. So you thought it was better than okay then? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'd go with okay. I mean, I'm glad I watched it.
Oh,
I had fun watching it, but I don't know that I would run out and tell anybody you got to go see this. Or this is one you got to see. This is, I think, a good. Well, Dave, what did you think about the effects? Lots of practical effects.
Yeah, lots of practical effects, and good for the most part. I mean, you can tell they spent their money. I don't know how much money this cost them, but it's all on the screen. The witch effects, there was definitely some CGI stuff going on there.
Yeah.
And
that was the only one, because the others I was like, oh, that's nice, that's gory, but the witches I was like, ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it was kind of some sci-fi channel quality stuff going on there.
You're right. The gore stuff was pretty good, but the witches were kind of.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that whole shimmery, smoky, CGI thing it just doesn't work. We've seen it a billion times.
Yeah, I think that was a poor choice. I mean, I think that it could have been done better just practically.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I think because the actual witches themselves didn't look that bad. I mean, when we could see them when they stopped with that shimmery, shaky thing, and you could actually see them, they didn't. They were rendered pretty well, just as standalone characters. But what they did to them to try to give them some
oomph.
Yeah, some supernatural overtones or something. It was like, oh, well, it just looks like we're looking at them over a hot road.
That's a good call. Yeah,
it
like
didn't
that
work.
Shimmer effect. That's awesome.
Yeah,
but sometimes less is more. Really, I mean, if you keep, I have to agree there. But some of the effects were good, and
the practical ones were good. They really were, and ultimately these stories they all come down to believing the characters or worrying about the characters or being involved with them. And I think they actually did a really good job with that. I liked the lead lady's interaction with the kids, especially. I thought she was very good with the lead boy. And even with the obnoxious boy, there was fun. There was a fun exchange there with them when they're in the. She's trying to get him to do something.
Yes! My God!
and she flashes him. And it was kind of funny. And then the other boy didn't see it for whatever reason. His eyes were closed, or she makes him cover his eyes. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
and he's like, "What happened?" She goes, "She got completely nude." And he's like, "You could have gotten nude that quick."
Yeah. Kevin's he's not deceived.
Yeah, but it was just kind of cute. I mean, again, at one point being a young man, I mean, that's something you would do if you had a buddy sleepover, just totally exaggerate what happened. It was just a very real moment, I thought. So
she clearly knows how to babysit. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
She knew how to control that kid. It's like,
stopped him in his track.
Good.
Well, that was something I thought was a little interesting, because she's it's obvious fairly quickly she's there with ulterior motives, but yet you can tell she's a good person because she does care about the kid, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I said. Just like the Collector. I don't know if you guys are fans of the Collector or not, but it's the same thing. He goes in there. He's obviously a good guy. He's just in a bad situation, and at the end of the day, he does the right thing. And
isn't he going to be in the? Oh, sorry. I'm going off on the Collector, but isn't he supposed to be in the third one too? The same actor? I'm excited about that. Sorry, off track. I'm excited about that, but yeah.
Okay, well, let's wind this up and see if we can't get our final thoughts, score, and favorite scene for The Night Sitter, and, throw in anything we didn't talk about that you thought of. And we'll start with Dave.
I don't really feel right saying don't watch it, because there is a lot of good stuff. The lighting's great, as we've mentioned several times now. There is some good stuff there. There's people with talent that were making these. The practical effects were good. The acting, for the most part, was solid. Just something doesn't quite click. I'm not sure what we're missing. It might have been budget. I didn't see anything really particularly horrible directorial wise. As you mentioned, the score, the music was good. So it seems like it should have a higher score than I'm going to give it. But yet at the end of the day, it just ends up being a middle of the road film for me. If you can pick it up cheap or catch it streaming somewhere, by all means. Where's this coming? Because we're talking, these are streamers. Where's this bad boy going? Is it just a VOD title?
Okay, just a second here. It's going to VOD and DVD on August 6th.
Okay. So, again, I don't know. There's probably going to be a handful of people that think that this is a great movie. It's not. There's also probably a handful that's going to think it's absolutely horrid, and it's not.
It's not. No.
Yeah, it's just it's an okay watch. I don't know how else to put it. Do we rank things and stuff at this point?
We do.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a middle of the road score. It's a 2.5 out of 5. And favorite scene, we do favorite scene too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've already mentioned it. Actually, I just really enjoyed that interaction. It wasn't a gore scene or anything. It was just a little moment of levity before things go batshit crazy. That interaction where she's trying to calm the boys down and she flashes the one, and I actually kind of chuckled out loud at that one. So it was just a fun little scene. So yeah, that's The Night Sitter.
So, Crystal, what are your final thoughts, the score, and favorite scene for The Night Sitter?
So I'm basically on the same page as Dave. It's not awful, for sure. It's not awful, but it's not overwhelmingly great or good. I do think there's reason to watch it. I think that I think honestly, especially if someone's a filmmaker, it might be interesting to watch just for the lighting alone, because I think it's very interesting. And like I said, I love the score. So there's some good parts to this. So yeah, I agree. Like if you find it on television, watch it for sure. And if you could find it cheap, yeah, why not? Like give it a go. I'm giving it a little bit higher, but not much, at 2.75, 2 3/4. And my favorite scene is the slit throat sacrifice. That was definitely my favorite scene. He got.
Yeah, big time.
You talking about the hanging one?
Yes.
Okay.
Was there another slit throat? There was a knife through the head.
Yeah,
there
was.
And then there was a scalping. And
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, that one was a really good one too. That was a close one.
Completely manual scalping.
Yeah. And there's a head beat. Yeah, I don't think.
Well, how did? Well, anyway, I don't want to list off everybody who died.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to totally spoil it.
All right, so I think we're all sort of similar. I thought this was kind of a fun movie. I enjoyed the kills, and like I said, I smiled a bit. I liked how the opening, there was always this Christmas music playing in the background, but then when it switched, it was kind of jarring. And I really liked, I don't know if you guys watched the credits, but the closing music in the credits, I didn't catch what it was, but I really enjoyed that.
Oh, I missed it. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I might have flipped the screener off at that point. Yeah.
Lots and lots of gore. Nothing completely unusual or unexpected, but just kind of fun. And I did like a few of the characters. I'm giving this a 3. That's my my rubric is 3 is for I'm glad I watched it. So
there you go.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's fair.
And favorite scene. I'm going to go with. I was going to go with the phone conversation. I love you, I like you, but I already talked about that. So I'm going to go with. Dave kind of brought it up, but Amber's dream
Oh yeah. Okay.
When she opens that door and what she sees when she opens the door, that's where she's right, Dave, when she's bathed behind.
Yeah, with the lights,
that gave me a shiver. I wish there'd have been more of that. Cause,
it was a well constructed shot. Really.
Yeah, it wasn't a particularly, this isn't a particularly scary film. In fact, probably not at all, except that one scene got me. So anyway, that's it for The Night Sitter. Check it out on VOD. It's available August 6th on DVD and VOD from Uncorked Entertainment. Next up, we have Assassinaut. And I've been looking forward to this. I don't know if you guys know this, but this one, Joseph Perry, I think, is putting this on his top 10 for the year.
Oh, yeah. When I posted up, I was watching it. He's like, oh, my God, I love this movie.
How you doing, Joseph? He's a co-host on Decades Before the Classic Era. So, Assassinaut. It's a team of 4 teenage astronauts brave the alien wilderness of a distant planet to save the Earth's president from a deadly assassin. Written and directed by Drew Bolduc. Cast includes Shannon Hutchinson, Vito Trigo, and Jasmina Parent. So, this time, I believe, we're going to start with Crystal. I'm really interested in this. What were your first impressions of Assassinaut?
So, this was an interesting movie. I had no idea what to expect. I wasn't certain of really anything going into this. I will say definitely one thing about this movie, it definitely feels like a female empowerment movie, which is really nice. I mean, it's got a lot of strong female characters, including a female president, which is awesome. It's got some strong female kids, which was really kind of cute. It has a twist, or it was a twist to me, or else I just didn't understand the movie at all. And it confused me at times, but I really liked the character development of pretty much every character, especially some of the male characters I found very interesting. And some people who you thought maybe were a little too harsh or too hard and not good were better than you thought. I think the aliens were kind of cool. I am confused how the opening scene, which was an assassination of sorts, fits in with the rest of the movie, but I liked the way the movie was shot. I liked the landscape. Does anyone know where this was actually filmed? It had such an interesting look.
Pretty sure it was my backyard.
It said, thanks to Virginia.
Oh, really? Oh, well, yeah. It looked interesting.
But I'm double checking. It had one of those crediting to Virginia Film Association or something.
Oh, cool. Yeah. But I thought the acting was good. I could probably deal with someone maybe explaining just a couple bits to me. But I have to say, once again, this is another one of those movies where I liked it. I just didn't love it. I liked it, didn't love it. And I think that was because typically when we watch movies, we expect hyper life. And a lot of this movie was actually more mundane parts of life. If, when the kids are there on the planet and with the guy and they're, hunting and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's a little mundane, and it wasn't awful. It didn't bother me. It didn't get so boring that I completely lost all interest, but I do kind of like hyper life in my movies. So, wasn't all bad. It was okay. I kind of liked it. I don't know what to say more than actually, I think I actually would like more to the story. I think I'd like to know more, honestly. I think there's a lot that could go on from this, or that could explain a lot of things, because I don't want to give anything away. I'm trying to be as cautious as I can be. But what my assumption was that there was this kind of war between the humans and the aliens. And the alien supporters painted their faces blue, like they said, and I had assumed that more people were human than there were, if that makes sense, without giving too much away. Right? Am I right? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we find out pretty early on in the president's assassination that there's something else going on there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. But see, what's confusing is he had his face painted blue like an alien supporter.
Not him, but the procedure he went through afterwards.
Oh, okay.
You remember that when they
Mm-hmm.
pulled the big squiggly out of him?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm with you now. I'm like, oh, okay, I see what we're
But that's
doing.
early
Yeah.
on, so we're not giving much.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm like, I don't want to totally give it away because it was confusing a bit. But yeah. So, yeah, I liked it. I liked it. It's probably going to, like you said, whoever said that they just like loved it. I get it. I could see people really, really loving this. I found it a little boring at points, and not boring to the point where I was anticipating something, just a little bit boring, but not so boring I lost interest. So, yeah, it was good. It was good. That's my take on it.
It was good.
It was good. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Crystal. So, Dave, what are your first impressions of the Assassinaut?
Well, I kind of got a different take on this than Crystal, obviously being a different gender and also being much older. This very much reminded me. I think this might be why Joseph Perry is so fond of it, because he and I share a love of like the old Ultraman and Johnny Sacco things. And this really felt like one of those type shows, like a Sid and Marty Krofft type of thing. And the basic premise for all those shows were always a child put into an extraordinary circumstance. And, when you're a 6 or an 8 or a 10-year-old young boy, I mean, I can remember laying in my bed on Saturday mornings with the blankets over my head, and I was in a spaceship flying off to battle some big monster. Yes. And this had that same feel about it. It made me think of that. So I kind of viewed this film affectionately. I mean, you overlook things like the alien planet is actually just the same backyard, but shaded pink. I mean,
I thought it looked really cool. That's
yeah. I mean, it works. It works, but that's the type of thing you would do. As a young boy, if you were shooting an 8mm film in your backyard, that's how you would do it. You'd put a red gel over it, and oh, gee, we're on Mars now because it's red, right? Doesn't matter. It's the same thing you were shooting 5 minutes ago. And, the monsters were quite obviously, suits, that big thing with the pimple on its chest that shoots whatever the hell it's shooting out of it.
But wasn't it smart that they went black and white for that?
Yeah. Really, and again, it just added to that same aesthetic of that type of thing. It reminded me of an Ultraman or a Johnny Sacco and his flying robot. Do you remember Johnny Sacco and his flying robot? Either of you?
I didn't.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, there was this kid that found a watch on the ground, and when he put the watch, he could control his own giant robot. And when he got in trouble, he'd just call the giant robot, and the giant robot would fly in and kick ass, and then fly away.
So now I see why you have an iWatch.
Yeah, exactly.
Dave Sacco and his flight.
Yeah, exactly. But and so this really reminded me a lot. It's very exposition heavy, even when no exposition is needed. But I'm kind of with Crystal though. I'm not in Joe Perry's camp where I just think it's the next best thing to buttered bread. But this movie does now and will forever hold a special place because it made me feel like the 10-year-old boy again as I was watching it. So I think that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
That's a fun thing.
But I find this really interesting because I think we all three got something else out of it. I did sort of get that. There's a few times where I was thinking this dialogue is right out of like a Saturday morning kid show, like when she's telling the one that she was a hero. She died a hero, you know.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. And the same way, you know, gee, thank you, President of Earth. You know, you know, that
But
type of
yet, some of the stuff I thought was kind of disturbing. Maybe I looked at them differently, but I thought the creatures were pretty. They got me. I must have missed something because I didn't see it go to black and white.
Oh, just during that one dream sequence.
Oh, the dream. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking of the when the commander was fishing and he caught that.
Oh, yeah. No, it was during her, and it was actually, I really loved that they went black and white with her dream. I was like,
Yep,
wait, what
yep.
oh, that's a dream. But it was just little things. I like little
Right,
things like
right.
that. I don't know. It probably made it look way better too.
And there's no real explanation why these 4 kids are going into space.
Yeah, not
during
really.
a war with aliens, you know, and there's
that whole
just
interaction
to meet the president, I guess.
between her and her father. You know, they're at the dinner table, and he's like, "I'm very proud of you for going to space." And she's like, "It's just what I must do." You know, it's like okay, gotcha. But again, it throws back to those old shows. If you ever were to watch those, throw in an old Ultraman episode, you'll understand.
Yeah. It's like the there's a lot of horror and space movies, right? And this one we throw the kids in, and then we add a little bit of political terrorism. And I'm not sure we're talking about the same thing, Dave, but I felt like there were certain things that I felt like I needed a little more exposition because I didn't quite get it.
Well, the exposition was oddly placed because they were explaining
Yes.
things that didn't need explained, and then
Yes.
the stuff that needed explained just kind of got glossed over.
All right, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on the same page because that's what I was wondering. Yeah, because as with what Crystal said, they don't really build the whole situation very completely.
Yeah, it's a little confusing.
There's something
But-
that's been going on for like maybe centuries, I guess, but they don't really explain it, and nobody knows about it. But I loved the part from the point where they land on the alien planet on. I love that. I thought that was really good. It also had kind of a feel of an Outer Limits episode almost.
Oh,
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah.
So when they meet the commander and what happens with him, and when she's crawling through the cave, I just thought that stuff was all
Oh,
Yeah,
was it a
it was
cave?
creepy
though?
or crap.
Was it a cave?
No.
Was it a
no.
cave?
Exactly.
No.
That's why it was so creepy. I was like, what the heck? No. That's awful.
So anyway, I enjoyed it, and I thought the kids were surprisingly good. Each of them
Oh, yeah.
did a pretty good job at their character, especially Shannon Hutchinson, who is in, I think, almost every scene.
I
Pretty
believe
close
so.
to it.
Yeah.
And I liked Charlie too. She was kind of a distant, caring person.
I was so sad. Was that the other? Oh, that was the nerdy girl, right? Or the journalist?
No, Charlie is the blonde.
Oh God, that made me sad though.
Yeah, yep.
She was such a disappointment. Her character, not the actress. She was great, but I was oh.
So there was this, so they throw in this political sort of terrorism, discord, whatever that was, but we don't really get what's going on. We just
Because I can't tell. I mean, are the aliens bad, or are I'm very confused as to whether they're all damn aliens and it's just
Right.
one race versus another, or I'm confused a little bit about that because
You're right.
all of a sudden it's like, oh,
There's a key plot point that's never really explained, and you just have to accept it, I think.
yeah,
Unless,
and I
Dave,
did. I'm
did
okay
you
with
have a
that.
take on that, or
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what happens. They just chose not to explain it. It's just like they either didn't know how to explain it, or they just figured it was, that we would figure it out ourselves.
Yeah, I didn't really.
Either way,
hate that
unfortunately, it's
lesson.
kind of bad storytelling. I mean, that's at the end of the day, regardless of which way it was, it's still bad storytelling.
well, and there's things that you have to pick up, like the blue skin thing. I think that was just like one line from a
from a
sort of
news.
like newscast in the background.
And if you weren't listening, you didn't get
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, because I was like, oh, he painted his skin. I knew exactly, though. I mean,
Yep.
it wasn't obvious, but it was obvious enough that I, picked it up. So
Well, you knew he was going to do something weird.
yeah, yeah. I do think that character arcs were good. I mean, there's a lot of good to the movie, and it's weird, and I like weird. It's not so weird that I can't understand it. So I can get behind that. It's like, oh, okay, it's got some stuff that I'd maybe like to know a little bit more about, but it wasn't enough to turn me off. That's a good thing. It's like, oh, okay. And like I said, I really liked the way it looked. I really did. I think it was, I can't believe it was like Virginia. See, I was all impressed by the landscape. I'm like, that looks good.
Well, you know how every state has its, its film promotion board. At the end, it said a thank you to whatever that's called in Virginia. So I'm just assuming it was shot in Virginia. Otherwise, we don't know.
Yeah.
But it could have been shot almost anywhere. I think
pretty much, just any sort of like
maybe the Southwest,
some wet forest area. Yeah, no, the acting was good. Well,
I liked the effects too. I thought that was good too, and the practical ones especially. There was a couple spots in the CGI with the spaceships that suffered a little bit, but not that bad. And considering sort of what they were going for, I think it probably kind of fits in.
Yeah,
well, and see, do y'all know what that beginning scene was about, the assassination? Did that make sense to you, or did I miss something completely? How does that relate to everything else? Do you know?
Well, since Dave's not saying anything, I'll stick my foot in my mouth. Well, I just took it as that's sort of the exposition we get explaining that kind of plot point that we're saying we didn't understand, I think.
Okay. So it's not wrong that I didn't understand it.
The president refused to sign this peace deal because he was said they were going to bomb him or something. And I didn't know who he meant by they. Was it the aliens or was it the other whatever? And then the one guy can't shoot him. That seems weird too. He won't.
Well, maybe I think that was just hard. Like that was like he didn't have the heart to do it. But right. What's interesting about that is how that plays out later. How he's like promoted, and the other guy he's right. So bitter. But that guy, and I kind of called that. I was like, he's not as bad as he seems.
But this is, and this is in like the first 5-10 minutes or something.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they take the president into this after he's shot, has his throat cut, and take him into like an operating room and make a big slit down his chest, and then pull this just weird squiggly gangly big eyeball thing out.
Yeah, I call it the eyeball birth. I was like, the eyeball birth. Yeah.
Like the big seeing eye. And I think they all knew about it because in that dream that Sarah had, the creature that she kills in her dream has a big eyeball in its chest or stomach, right?
Correct. But it looks like an adult version of that, essentially. But then, okay, here she is fighting it, but then at the end, how is she almost like friendly with it? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, what? I want to know the relations between the alien. I would really actually like that. Like, that's what I'm saying. I would really be interested to know more about the story. I think it could be, I think whoever wrote it has a definite idea of what the story is. And I'd like to know, to be honest. I would totally watch another one.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems, and that happens sometimes in these. Like whoever wrote it, they know what they mean, and they're just assuming we're going to know what they mean, and then they get all pissed off when we have no fucking idea what they're doing, and but that makes perfect sense because
or
their story.
They realize, sometimes they realize that they thought that audiences would get it, but they're not, so they made a mistake.
Yeah. Obviously, that didn't happen on this one.
No.
So, maybe we'll be seeing something like Ultraman or the Assassinauts or something, And I don't really know who
that
the
was
Assassinauts are.
Well, oh wow, there's not much left. They're such a cute group too. I think they did a good job of like establishing their characters, and they were all different, and it was kind of like a 90s, romance movie in a way. I mean, because I totally got vibes from the two females, obviously.
Right.
About their relationship, which was that's why I was so sad. I mean, some of it made me sad. Maybe I'm just a little too emotional about the characters, but I'm like, you traitor. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, I did say I liked it earlier, and I did. I liked it. It is funny though. I totally picked up on this whole female stuff, and y'all liked complete. So it's kind of got something for everyone, I think.
Well, I noticed that right away, and that's a silly thing to notice, I guess, but that there were 3 women and 1 guy out of these 4 kids.
Oh, yeah.
3 girls and 1 boy, which I thought was kind of cool. And the kid, the boy, he was the one really non-contributing member. I don't know that he did anything to help out.
But I loved how he reacted after.
Right.
After a scene, because I was like, I felt him. I was like, see, he's not as bad. He does have a heart. He's just kind of a jerky boy, Like, oh, damn. Kids. Yeah, it was good. Sorry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I definitely think people should watch it. Check it out.
Well, I thought that was a great scene, too, when, maybe we'll get to that in final scenes.
Ooh, I know. There's a couple.
But when Brooke
really
was
good.
manufacturing the flamethrower.
See, yeah, that's what. Yep, that's fun. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All righty. I think we covered everything except, that guy, the commander. He just that I thought that was scary. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was that the one with the 70s porn stash? Was that the
guy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I loved him. I loved his character development, and I was sitting there watching this. I was like, he is not as big of a jerk as they're making him out to be. And he really wasn't. He really was a decent person. He made the hard choice and did the hard thing, and someone else got the credit for it. And he was bitter, a little bit angry, but he wasn't he really was trying to help those kids. I mean, he didn't have to.
And I think he's pretty cynical over the way, the situation he's forced to operate in. And
yeah, imagining a world where, aliens have come in and there's all this sort of turmoil and strife. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Seems fair.
He was a fun character.
Yeah, he was. He was a good one. I really appreciated too how he managed to warn everyone, or her specifically, before, that just showed his character. That he was trying. So he's like, okay, I just want to let you know, some stuff's about to go down. Yeah. It's about to get real up in here, so you might want to take precaution. Cool.
Okay, cool. So let's go on to finish up our discussion of Assassinaut. And Crystal, could you give us, if you have any final thoughts, a score and a favorite scene for Assassinaut?
So like I said, I liked it. I definitely think this is going to be a different watch for everyone. I think this is such an interesting movie because of that. There's some slower parts, like I said, like some of it's a little mundane life, but it's not enough for it to get boring. So that's good. It was shot well. The acting was good. And you can draw your own conclusions for some of it. Who knows? Maybe there's someone out there that's going to be like, I totally get it. But I'm giving it a 3. So that's good. That's a nice solid 3. And I have a lot of favorite scenes, actually. But my favorite scene is the gun miscalculation explosion. It is the most, I was like, that is sad and good. And just the, oh no.
It was even kind of funny. Right?
So, yeah. Yeah, but there are several good scenes, but it was a sad one too because that was a nice character, but yeah, that the gore was. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of gore, but there were some moments. There were some moments, and that was a good one.
Okay, Dave, what are your final thoughts, score, and favorite scene for Assassinaut?
Assassinaut is a surprising little film. I have to agree with Crystal. I think it's going to be different things for different people. You know, as I related in, you know, my first conversation about it. So I liked it. I liked it quite a bit, actually. It's definitely got its flaws, and I think we've managed to point all those out several times. So, yeah, overall, the film really surprised me. Favorite scene? There is a couple, and I don't actually. One of my favorite scenes is one of the last scenes in the movie, but it would be kind of a spoiler, so I'm going to avoid that one. But I'm going to go with the same kind of creature thing. So we'll go back to, and somebody else already mentioned it when we get the, what do you guys call it? The squiggly eye monster, the squiggly.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
the eyeball birth.
The eyeball birth, and that's kind of one of our first kind of gory scenes in the film. It's not the first, but it's one of the first ones. And that was good. I mean, it looked to me to either be an animatronic or a puppet of some type.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely go, what the heck?
Yeah. But it definitely, somebody put some work into that. And it looked good. It really did. It looked good. So whoever was handling their physical effects should take pride in that one, because that was a really good one. And we kind of see it again at the end of the movie as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that as a favorite scene. As for a score, I am going to, once again, mirror the wonderful Crystal Cleveland and give it a solid 3.
Yep, that's good.
That's it.
Two threes. Okay. I'm going to go a little bit more on that. I'll just say I'm going to go 3.75.
Oh, that's
nice.
Quite a bit more.
Well,
I thought about it too. I'm like, but it is a solid 3. Like, I gotta say, because I'm like, yeah, 3's good for me.
That's good. That's fine. I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I just enjoyed that, and I got to, I got to work with Joseph, so I'm going with some of his intuition. But no, I it's weird, Crystal, because you said it was kind of slow or dragged or something. I forget what word.
Like I said, it's kind of mundane. It's just kind of mundane life. Yeah.
But it's weird. There's mundane pieces, alternated or split with these really bizarre scenes, like the assassination or the assassination attempt, or the other things we've talked about. And those are, I was pretty tense in those when he was after him, and there was some other things going on. So anyway, I enjoyed this a lot, and we talked before the show, but I did watch it twice because a little bit of time had passed, and I'm glad I watched it again. I enjoyed it the second time. I could focus a little bit more on some other things. So anyway, 3.75. I liked the actors, and I really did like the guy that played the commander, and I wanted to mention his name, Vito Trigo. I thought he was pretty good because he does a good job. As Crystal said, he comes off as being this gruff, callous character that really, ends up having a soft inside, I guess. We see him at the beginning of the movie when he leaves his house, and his wife is there. And so you get this idea he's got a family. So I don't know.
There's more to him. I think it comes across. I think he did a great job as an actor, because I was like, no, I don't think he's that bad. Yeah, he did a good job.
So I'm going to say there's lots of gore scenes or surprising scenes I could mention, but I'm going to go with, this one's surprising too. When Sarah encounters the commander right after he completes his successful fishing.
Oh, yeah.
And he's sitting in the middle of a clearing all by himself, rigid, in a rigid posture. And she comes in and says what's wrong. And then a little speech he gives after I thought that was really well done, and it gives you the right feeling, I think. So I enjoyed that.
I agree.
And I want to make a little comment about both of these movies. Gave really weird character names to people that we never knew their names. So
Okay.
the woman in Assassinaut, who was, when we find out Charlie's mission, the one that woman that has a broken leg, her character's name is Tiberia Blunt Knuckle.
What?
That's her name in the credits. Tiberia Blunt Knuckle.
That's why they don't mention the names. It's like
probably. I'm assuming that's who it had to be. And then in the Night Sitter, the 3 ghosts are listed as Crispy, Slimy, and Noose.
Oh my gosh. Crispy?
Or did I say ghost witches? The 3 witches are
yeah.
Crispy, Slimy,
I knew
and
what
Noose.
you meant.
Because they were burned, drowned, and hung.
That's kind of messed up, but really funny.
It is kind of messed up. All right. So check out Assassinaut. It is available now. Coming to Blu-ray and VOD on July 30th.
As we speak.
Which we're a day or two after that. So you should be able to see this now. And it's from Dread. And they've been doing some good stuff. I don't mean to make that sound surprising. Done some good stuff. And once again, Night Sitter is available August 6th on DVD and video on demand from Uncorked Entertainment. So, thank you both for joining me tonight, especially in Doc's absence. And,
he's missed.
Yeah, so let's say good night to Doc wherever you are.
Good night, Doc.
He went to see Hobbs and Shaw, so you should maybe.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's just fine.
They were like,
All right.
Traitor. Just kidding.
All right. Say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Gruesome Magazine.